Okay, so this is what I was working on. So it's a hand reading game. Uh, it's just got the IRP. What is that? Initials, acronym, whatever. Which stands for Intel, Read, and Plan.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've been doing like every hand that I come into, I say, okay, what intel, what information can I gather from the players that are in this hand
Mm.
or on the table? Because
Yeah.
yeah, because oftentimes, say if you've got a player in the big blind who's a recreational player, they're going to be calling a lot less, or the you'll be able to win the flop a lot more against that player.
Mm.
So you can actually open a tiny bit wider, things like that. Or you can say,
Yeah.
based on stack size, I'm going to actually re-raise against. Sorry, I'm going to actually isolate this player early because I've got a pretty good hand, and if they shove, I can actually call like things like that. You can do that because you're looking for it. So I do that intel, and then I'll read. So it's what do I think based on their position, their hand is, and then I make a plan and I say, all right, I'm going to do this on, uh, with my hand. I'm going to do this thing if these cards come, or whatever.
Mm.
And so I do this for every street, and let's go. Okay. And so basically, all I need to think in my head is pre-flop. I need to gather information. After the flop, I still use that information to go through what I think the ranges are and plan. So it's
Mm.
always ranges and then make a plan every
Cool.
street. Ranges, make a plan, and then on the river, what stops me calling a lot is I say, well, what hands do they have? Instead of thinking about ranges, I think about very specific hands,
Mm.
and then I plan what I want to do from there. Um,
Cool.
and even just having simplifying it a lot because I think it's quite difficult to keep the thought process small. I think
Hmm.
Charlie talks about that a lot, just keeping the thought process pretty small.
Yeah.
Um, and I think this helps me do that a lot because I can just say, what's the intel? They're a recreational player. What's my range versus their range? Well, their range misses this board a lot, so I can see bet quite small, like 30%, and they're going to fold out a lot of their range. If they call, then if these cards come on the turn, then I can bet bigger. If they don't come, I can check. So
Mm.
I can say those things and then move to the next street.
Yeah.
And then obviously it gets faster and faster, and you don't even need to really think about that as much. But you're still not on autopilot because you're thinking in your head ranges plan like that. Um, yeah,
That's pretty awesome, man.
but
Yeah.
I'll share with you this because I've made a
Yeah, that'd be
shareable.
amazing.
Yeah.
And you just make it up yourself?
Well, I mean, it's basically just an adaptation of what Charlie's been teaching.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I was trying to make it into a game because I think poker in itself, like you're right, you want to go on autopilot because there's parts of it that aren't very engaging. Like it's
Mm.
engaging when you're winning, or
Yeah.
when good things are happening, or when
Yeah.
you're losing. But in the middle of that, it's not as engaging. So I was trying to find ways to make it more engaging all the time.
Mm.
So I had like some stars system and shit like that. But yeah, you can just do the exercises. You can have the star system or point system as well if you think it helps. But um, yeah, I'll share with you that as well.
Cool. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so when he bets here, let's try the hand ranging exercise and doing it because you've only got like 10 or 15 seconds, right? I think it's only 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah,
very
it's
short
around
amount
that.
of it's a very
It's
short amount of time.
so short.
Yeah.
It's so short.
So you got to get used to just making very like one word statements, like saying ace king plus jacks plus. It's three
Mm.
betting ace king plus jacks plus.
Okay.
Making it very easy on yourself. Not filling it with all this like he could have everything. He could have all these other random cards as well. We're only thinking about on average what's he got.
Mm.
If he's got weird shit, then doesn't really matter because we can only with our hand we can only really play if we hit something big anyway, right?
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I mean like that, like you say, it's got like jacks plus or ace king, maybe some ace queen.
Don't even worry about the ace queen. That's it. Done. All right, next.
Yeah,
Next
done,
step.
done.
Ace king plus. Jacks plus.
Ace king plus, jacks plus. So yeah, I mean, like that, boom, he's kind of annihilated me.
Yep. So what is this board? Does this board hit his range?
This board, yeah, totally hits his range.
Yeah. So let's think about that.
So,
So if you were doing, if you were saying every street, you got the 10 seconds. What's his range? What's my plan? So yeah, go for it.
so okay, 10 seconds. What's his range? His range is pretty weighted towards those two hands,
Yep.
two cards out there. He could very easily have a set.
Okay.
Fold.
Fold if he bets, basically, right?
Yeah, fold a few bets.
Or how much does he bet to get you to call? If he bets, how much does he bet, and will you call? Basically, does that make sense?
Okay, so how much has he got to bet?
Yeah, for you to call.
Okay, so if he was to bet probably 10 to 15.
Yep.
Anything less, so if he bet like 4, I'd be like, is this motherfucker trying to DSTI me? And then yeah, if he overbets or if he like 2/3 or whatever, then I'd be like, okay, he probably has a good hand.
Yeah. What about half?
Half, so yeah, it's like 30, close to 30, which is kind of what he bet here. Yeah, I'd probably fold that out.
Yeah, and why would you call?
Why would I call? I would possibly call to have to hit. I would call the hopes of like hitting an ace and maybe stacking him, or hitting, or even hitting, say, a queen and then stacking him.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was looking for. I think the only way you win this hand is if you hit one of your draws, and I don't think an ace is actually a draw for you. I think
Not really,
I think an
no.
ace is bad. So I think when this comes, what you want to be saying is, if he bets half pot or less, I'm going to call because there's an opportunity for me to stack him if I hit my straight or my flush on the river.
Yeah.
And so I can call one street here pretty comfortably,
Yeah.
right? And then if we go to the next street, let's do it. What's on the next street? All right.
Cool.
So now we do the same thing. We ask, okay, he's bet. What's his range likely to be? What does he need to bet for me to call on the turn?
What does he need to bet on the turn? So if he was to bet at this stage, I don't know, anything really. Even if he threw in like,
The 4. Yeah.
yeah, if he threw in like, yeah, at this stage, if he threw in even like well, no, I suppose if he threw in like, if he bet, actually, no, I realistically think about really, if you bet maybe even 20 cents or even maybe 30 cents, I'd probably call. But like anything above that, I'd be like, no, this is just, the price is just not good enough.
Okay.
Um,
So I think even 20 or 30 cent is not worth it for you because you've only got the queens as the out, and he can potentially have queens as well.
Yeah, of course, actually, yeah.
So I think I think you're right with your initial intuition that you should just fold if he bets here. Yeah, I think that's fine, and yeah, I'm happy with that. And then on the river, like his range doesn't change. Like his hands don't really change that much when he doesn't bet. Like he's still got jacks plus, ace king plus, which means that if we bet here, we're basically going to have to shove because he's going to call with all of that range most of the time, right? Like any jack he's going to call, queens he's going to call, ace, and then everything else is just really good, right? And so yeah, we basically can't bet on the river, but it's okay. Let's do a couple more, and I think when we think about, just think 10 seconds, and almost just do whatever your first thoughts are. That's all you need to stick on. You don't need to go too deep into it. Yeah, like your first thoughts will be good enough, and even if you're completely wrong, you'll build up that over time anyway. Like you'll be just doing the exercise over time. You'll be like, actually, I need to be thinking about this instead of this, and it'll just happen over time that you build up. Cool. Next hand. All right, so we can call with this hand.
Oh yeah, sorry. this is going to sound so ridiculous, but I absolutely detest that hand.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I actually detest it.
So
I
don't.
hate playing it.
So don't do that.
Yeah, I don't play it. I like even.
No, I mean don't detest the hand. Yeah, you can't have biases.
I
Uh,
know, I know, I know. I just hate it so much.
I was very similar. There were certain hands that I hate as well, but they're gone now. I don't think about it anymore. And yeah, you really need to do the same because if you have any superstition, like you can't tell the future.
Yeah.
You can't have superstition when it comes to poker because it's not efficient. It's just yeah.
It's not even a superstition. It's just I find them really hard to play. I just find it's a really hard hand to play.
Well, that's why you should be playing it because you'll get used to playing it. And if it's hard to play, it means that you can just play it a lot more safely, right? You can just say, this hand's really shit unless I hit really big, so I'm just not I'm not gonna call down when there's a queen high versus under the gun. I'm just gonna I'm gonna call one street. If he continues, I'm gonna fold. If a queen high is still queen high, I'm still gonna fold. Versus under the gun or like a middle range. Like that's what I do. Like because what happens is like say if you have queen 10 versus middle, right? You just do the range exercise. You say, well, what's his range when he bets here? He's got either a draw, like he's got king jack or he's got ace king or something like that draws with a queen, so he's going to be betting with that. And then if he bets again on the turn, we can say, okay, well, his draw's missed. Like say there was a 5 comes or something. His draw's missed, but he's still betting. So I'm just going to assume that he's got queen, and if he's got a queen and he's betting from that position, it means that he's got queen 10 plus himself. And so it means that we beat basically all the time if we call here and he has a queen, so we just fold. We don't say he's got queen 10 and we're going to split. We say, he's got queen jack plus, we lose to all the queen jack plus, we fold. Yeah, and it just makes your life way simpler. Okay, so you raise here 5. So every time you raise from the small blind versus big blind, you want to be raising to 6.
Okay, why so?
Because I think it means that they don't try and 3-bet you as much because the price is already high. And it also makes them call less. Even with this hand hits some of the time. Like when it hits big. When it doesn't hit big. We'd rather just get them to fold and get free money. Like we don't need to play a hand. If we can get people to fold and just get free money, no matter the hand, except for like aces and kings, then we're winning.
Yeah,
we're winning over time. So bet 6 big blind versus small blind. Every other position you can bet 5.
Cool.
Sorry, small blind versus big blind. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so you raise, you call. Yeah, I think it's a good call. We don't really want to be. So I went through 2-L without 3-betting in this spot because I'd 3-bet. Oh, sorry, I'd 3-bet. I 3-bet ace king jacks plus. That's it, right?
Okay.
I was like, that's all I'm going to 3-bet. And in this spot, normally we would be 3-betting ace 7 clubs because it's like a really good bluffing hand. A really good bluff bet, and then if we hit really big. So, okay, so what do we think here? So we don't need to range him at the moment because he hasn't bet anything, but when he bets, we can put him on a range. So what did he do?
I check and he bets.
Okay, he bets half. Okay, so can we realistically call half here? Like, what do you think? What do you think he's got?
So I mean, he's betting from the button, and he could have his range is pretty wide. His range can be pretty wide, I find. And the thing is,
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Okay, yeah.
What do you want to do?
Wide.
Right, wide range. Correct.
Wide range call.
Yeah. You think call. Okay. Well, I actually think on these boards, because we've only really got the backdoor flush, and that flush can be counterfeited. I mean, he can beat us with the full house. It's actually quite dangerous for us to call here because we might be inclined to call future streets. Because what I want you to be thinking about as well is his price half pot is actually pretty expensive. It's usually people will bet here, 4. and that's a really cheap. That's a cheap call that I would even be inclined to possibly fold. Like the way I'm playing, I would be like, sure we might make a hand a lot of the time, and sure a lot of the time he doesn't have a hand, but I might call one street, and if he bets again, I'm just gonna fold, or I'll be thinking in terms of that, where it's like I really don't have the bet. I can't make the best hand here. A lot of the time he's got me beat, and he might just be betting small because could be betting small. But when he bets 7 here, I'm thinking about future streets, and I'm thinking about how much I'm going to have to call on future streets. So if he's betting 7 here, and a club comes, and then he bets big another half on another street, I'm actually paying quite a lot to make a marginal hand. So I'm inclined not to call when he bets 7, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and then when the 8 comes, what do you think? So does he check? What does he do here?
I think he bets.
Okay.
And at this stage, I'm just like, boom.
Easy fold. Yep. So I don't mind your call. I mean, your call's fine on the flop, but it's more just thinking about what happens on future streets. Like I think you can choose to be the player that calls a bit wider if you want to on these specific spots, like with the paired board where you can make something, and you've got the ace high. But me personally, I would rather take opportunities that are better and just save my money. I'm investing my money into the pot. Don't want to invest in something that I can't really hit very often. Not cool. Okay, we can play that hand for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I play it because that guy top block or whatever, I have him down as a reg. Okay. So it was a fish. I'd probably be. Oh, I did play it. Okay, strange.
Yeah, you still want to be playing it versus rigs. The rigs will also overfold, so don't worry too much about that. Yeah. Okay, and then what do we want to do? So go back a bit. So on that on the flop, right? Mm-hmm. We've got what are your thoughts here? Like, what do you want to do?
So I'm out of position. So I mean, I basically don't really have anything, so I don't really think I should be taking the lead. His range is super wide, so I mean, I think I'm okay to kind of check here. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no point kind of doing anything crazy now at this stage. I just think c-betting, trying to take the lead now could just annihilate me.
Okay. Well, I think on these boards, I generally will bet 33%, and you get a lot of folds.
Oh, really?
Against everyone, yeah. Because people, if you're betting small here, people assume that you've got something and you want to keep them in. And so you just fold it a lot. If they re-raise you, you've got a very easy fold. So the problem is here is if he checks and he's got 3s most likely 3s or 6, and he's like, oh well, he's checked to me, that means he's got nothing. So I'm going to check and then see if he hits one of his overcards or a card on a future street, and then I can bet. So you're running into that trap. But what happens is that if you bet and he's got 6s or 3s, he'll actually re-raise you because the pot's so small. And so you can get a lot of information out of just betting small, as well as folding out a lot of cards.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think betting small on these boards is a really, really good idea. And then also you also bet, like, you can bet small or big if you actually hit, like if you hit a 3. You don't have to do this, but oftentimes that in these spots, especially versus rigs, they will just re-raise you because it's a really good bluffing spot. And so what you can do is if you see people re-raising you here, you can tag them as someone that might re-raise on paired boards. And then what happens is when you actually have a really good hand, you can bet small, they will re-raise, and then it's usually like a battle. Like they're going to be repping your hand basically, and then you can stack them. It's kind of funny. You can stack them or at least get a lot of money out of them a lot of the time when you tag them. Like you don't want to be doing that unless you've already tagged them as that. Like if you've got a good hand in this spot, oftentimes it's better just to check because they won't really have anything, or you can decide to bet big and assume they've got something. On this board, I'd probably opt to check, but yeah, you can make a lot of money here by just betting 33%, and they fold out a lot of hands.
Cool.
And then you also save a lot of money on future streets if they do re-raise you. Yeah. So yeah, like exactly here. This is an example, right? He's going to be checking back a 3 a lot of the time, because he's got nothing. If he's got a 3, you hit top pair. You're like, bam, I've got an 8. You bet big. He re-raises you. You're inclined to call, right? And that happens a lot. Like it's well, not a lot, but it happens, right? And then you lose a lot of money in those spots. So you got to watch out.
Cool.
Yeah. So in those spots, obviously you still want to be considerate of their range. Like if they 3-bet you, you still, and then like a king king or a queen queen king comes, then you basically say, well, he's hit the board all the time. Betting 33% is like 15 cents that I'm probably just throwing away at this point. So you don't have to bet there in those situations if you don't want to. I think you can call king 8 sometimes. So you can definitely open 10 jack on the button.
Yeah.
Oh, not if he opens. Next.
No, I think I'm pretty sure I fold. At least I hope I fold. I did. There's that.
Yeah, you got it pretty good.
Yeah, definitely open this one.
Yeah. I also, like, if I've got a good hand, I will also bet 5. If I've got a good hand, small blind versus big blind. But if I've got a bad hand, I pretty much always bet 6 because I think it folds people out more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would fold that.
Okay. That's definitely an open, king 7. Yeah. I think we can open almost all king suited on the button. Maybe king 5. King 5 is the lowest.
Okay.
Yeah. Not sure why, but yeah, you can. But I think people overfold, so we can open king 5. Cool. Good raise size. 4 times out of positions. Perfect. All right. What do we do now? Check.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, this is actually probably one of my leaks. Is just like playing out of position. Like I'm so passive out of position because I feel that I don't know.
Well, don't worry about that. Let's go back. It's not really about how you feel. It's about ranging people. Okay, so what is his range right now? When he calls you, this flop comes. What's his range? 10 seconds.
Okay, so it's very wide, super wide. I think I would bet
10 seconds. What's his range?
His range is like very wide. A lot of Jack X, a lot of King X, a lot of Ace X.
Yeah, we can just say maybe just say broadways, maybe.
Broadways, yeah,
broadways.
Lots of broadways.
And
pocket
what
pairs.
else? Pocket pairs. That's it. Broadways, pocket pairs.
Cool.
Maybe suited connectors, right?
Maybe suited connectors.
Yeah, broadways, pocket pairs, suited connectors. All right. And what's your plan?
So, my plan would be to bet, and
why?
Possibly. So, I want to fold out some of his low pocket pairs.
Yep.
And his basically pocket pairs from 9 down.
I don't think you're folding out any pocket pairs here.
No?
No. Paired,
I suppose because, of course, there's a paired board.
Paired board they don't fold out. But you can just say, we can fold out a lot of his misses. So because it's a 3-bet pot, it means that the money's already really big, right? So he's not really inclined to call unless he's hit something or has hit a really good draw. And there's not a lot of draws on here at all.
Yeah.
So he's basically got a jack or pocket pairs or a 6. And everything else might not call at all, like any bet. Even if you bet 5 or 2, you might not call with anything apart from those things because you betting, or you with the betting lead, you can rep jacks plus ace king, right? And unless he's got something better, he's not going to want to call. So, well, you can do something very similar. And something else I wanted you to talk about as well was, for your plan, you also have outs. So tell me about that real quick as well. What are we looking for?
So what outs have I got? So I can hit my ace, I can hit my queen, I could hit runner, diamonds, I could hit, runner, 10, king.
And that's it, right?
So, yeah.
Done.
So I suppose I actually have a pretty decent amount of equity.
You do. And the cool thing about this is that in 3-bet pots, what you can do is because you know that people don't want to bet a lot because the pot's already really big. Unless they've hit, you can do the same thing as we did on the other paired board where you bet 33% with the intention. So this is what you say with your plan. Like, I know that I've got cards that I can hit. If I hit any of the cards that I've just mentioned just then, I can bet big on the turn, right? So you can say, I can bet small here because I have the intention of betting big on the turn. And that's also going to fold him out of a lot. And it's going to make you still look like you have really good pairs, like over pairs.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, so let's do it.
Checks.
All right, and so, I mean, and now you bet. So the problem with betting now, right, is that, sure, he's checked. He could still have pocket pairs and call you here. Like, he's still calling with all his pocket pairs. So I think in that spot, you're actually losing money by betting.
Okay.
Even though he's playing passive, there's a lot of cards that he can be playing passive with. And unless we're actually putting him on a range and saying, it's very difficult. So, and then betting there, you've already lost all of your outs. So if he calls, you don't have any equity to bet on the river either.
Okay. Right. So maybe a better way to play it would have been, like you said, maybe 10 cent, 15 cent bet on the river.
Yep.
And then if he calls, I can just barrel big on the turn. And then
if we hit.
If we hit, yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Because we don't want to be barreling. So the problem is if we don't hit and we barrel, he's already called once, so he's going to be inclined to call again, right?
Yeah.
And so we only really want to be barreling if we're picking up equity because it means that we have the opportunity to stack him later on. But it also means that if we miss on the river, we can choose whether or not, like, we can basically put him on a hand on the river because he's already called 2 streets, and we can say, what do I need to bet to get him to fold that hand? And if you can't think of anything like that folds it, then you can just fold, right? And you make money over time by folding there instead of bluffing.
Cool.
Yeah.